Episode 4, The Stages of the Twin Flame Journey. Hi, I'm Ryan Keyes. Welcome to Episode 4 of The Secret Psychology of Twin Flames. In the last 3 episodes, we've explored the ache, projection, and the archetypal patterns shaping your love story. You've learned why this connection feels so intense and what it's really showing you about yourself. But here's what I haven't told you yet. This journey has stages. Predictable stages that everyone goes through, and understanding which stage you're in changes everything. Because when you know where you are on the map, you stop feeling lost. You stop thinking something's wrong with you. You realize this is part of the process. Before we dive in, you know what I'm going to say? Go to ryankeys.com/twinflames and download your free meditation, Coming Home to Your Heart. This 15-minute foundational practice anchors you through all the stages. When you're in the chaos, and you will be, this practice brings you back to your center. If you haven't gotten it yet, get it now. Link is in the description. Today's episode corresponds to a meditation called The River of Stages. It's a 22-minute guided journey where you'll walk along a symbolic river, stopping at each bend to encounter the 5 stages: projection, inflation, shadow, separation, and integration. At each stage, you'll collect a symbol and integrate its teaching. This meditation helps you honor where you've been, understand where you are, and prepare for what's coming. It's part of the complete Meditative Journey library, all 12 meditations for just $27, normally $97 when you use code TWIN. ryankeys.com/twinflames, code TWIN. Get them all now. The journey requires all the tools. Don't wait until you're in crisis to get the practices that could support you. Link is in the description. Okay, let's map the journey. Why the stages matter. Here's what happens when you don't understand the stages. You think you're failing. When the honeymoon phase ends and the darkness begins, you think, I did something wrong. They were the one and I ruined it. If I could just get back to how it was, you get stuck. You keep trying to return to stage 1, the bliss, the intensity, the perfection, instead of moving through the necessary stages that lead to actual wholeness. You stay in pain longer than necessary because you don't realize that separation is part of the process, that shadow is part of the process, that the breakdown is necessary for the breakthrough. But when you understand the stages, everything shifts. You realize the pain has purpose. The pattern makes sense. This is initiation, not punishment. Every stage is teaching you something. You're exactly where you need to be. So let me give you the map. Let me show you the 5 stages that everyone, and I mean everyone, who goes through the twin flame experience encounters. Stage 1, projection, the meeting and recognition. What happens? You meet someone and it feels like recognition, like you've known them before, like coming home to someone you've been searching for your entire life. The attraction is instant and overwhelming. Eye contact feels electric. Conversation flows effortlessly. Time stops when you're together. You think, this is it. This is the one. This is what I've been waiting for. The psychology, Jung would say you're experiencing maximum projection. You're seeing your own wholeness, your anima or animus, your unlived potential, your disowned qualities, reflected perfectly in this person. They embody exactly what you've been missing in yourself, the feminine you've repressed, the masculine you've abandoned, the creativity, emotion, freedom, structure, power, or softness you've never developed. It feels like destiny because, in a way, it is. Your psyche orchestrated this encounter to show you what you need to integrate. What it feels like: euphoric, magnetic, faded. Finally, someone who gets me. I've never felt this way before. Synchronicities everywhere. Everything feels easy and perfect. The gift. This stage shows you what wholeness could feel like. It gives you a taste of integration, even though you're experiencing it through projection rather than internal balance. The shadow. You're not seeing the real person. You're seeing your projection. And they're not seeing you either. They're seeing their projection. There's no real intimacy yet. Just two people falling in love with mirrors. How long it lasts? Anywhere from a few weeks to a few months. Sometimes longer if you're in long-distance communication, where fantasy can be maintained without reality intruding. My story. When I met her, it felt like lightning. We locked eyes across a room, and I swear time stopped. Within days, we were talking for hours. Within weeks, I was convinced she was the one. Everything about her mesmerized me. Her creativity, her emotional depth, her intuition, her freedom. I thought, finally someone who can match my intensity. Someone who sees me. What I didn't realize, I was seeing myself. She was carrying everything I'd abandoned. My emotions, my creativity, my vulnerability, my flow. The recognition was real, but I was recognizing my own lost wholeness, not recognizing her. Stage 2, inflation, the honeymoon, and spiritual ego. What happens? The initial euphoria intensifies. You don't just think you found the one. You start believing you're special, chosen, cosmically ordained. You interpret every synchronicity as proof, every meaningful conversation as evidence of soul-level connection, every intense feeling as confirmation that this is different from anything anyone else has experienced. The psychology Jung called this inflation, when the ego identifies with archetypal content and believes itself to be more than human, more than ordinary. You start thinking, we're twin flames, special category beyond normal relationships. The universe brought us together, cosmically ordained. We have a mission together, chosen ones. Other people just don't understand. We're more evolved. Inflation can be positive. We're so in love, so connected, so spiritually aligned. Or it can be negative. This is so painful, so intense. No one has ever suffered like this. Both are inflation. Both involve the ego believing it's more special, for better or worse, than ordinary human experience. What it feels like? Invincible, special, chosen. This is different from anything I've experienced. Finally, someone on my level. We must have been together in past lives. Spiritual superiority. The gift inflation gives you confidence that the connection matters. It helps you commit to the journey even when it gets difficult. The shadow of spiritual ego. Believing you're exempt from normal human psychology, using spiritual language to avoid dealing with actual problems. Inflation prevents real intimacy because you're relating to an idealized fantasy, not a real human being. How long it lasts? A few weeks to a few months? It ends when reality intrudes, when the first real conflict happens, when you see their flaws, when they don't match your projection. My story, during inflation, I was convinced we had past lives together. I saw angel numbers everywhere. I interpreted every coincidence as the universe confirming our connection. I stopped listening to friends who expressed concern. I thought, they just don't understand this level of connection. They haven't experienced what we have. I was inflated. I thought I was special. I thought we were special. And that inflation made me blind to red flags I should have seen. Avoidant attachment, emotional unavailability, incompatible life goals. I was so high on the spiritual narrative that I couldn't see the actual relationship. Stage 3, shadow, the triggering and crisis. What happens? Reality intrudes. The person you idealized starts showing their flaws. The projection begins to crack. They pull away when you want closeness. They need space when you need connection. They're critical when you expected acceptance. They're distant when you expected intimacy, and you feel crushed. But here's what's really happening. They're triggering your shadow. Every wound you've buried, every attachment trauma you've avoided, every insecurity you've hidden, it all comes to the surface. The psychology. Jung taught that the shadow contains everything we've disowned, denied, or repressed. And intense relationships always activate the shadow. For the anxiously attached, the shadow shows up as obsession and clinginess, fear of abandonment, desperate need for reassurance, losing yourself in the relationship, checking their phone, stalking their social media. For the avoidantly attached, the shadow shows up as emotional withdrawal and distancing, fear of engulfment, need for excessive independence, shutting down when things get intense, prioritizing freedom over connection. And here's the pattern. Anxious usually pairs with avoidant. The chaser finds the runner. The one who gives too much finds the one who takes too little. This isn't coincidence. It's your psyche showing you what needs healing. What it feels like? Confusing. Why did they change? Painful. Why are they pulling away? Desperate. What did I do wrong? Obsessive. I can't stop thinking about them. Shameful. Why can't I control myself? Crazy. Am I losing my mind? The gift. The shadow stage forces you to see what you've been avoiding. Your attachment wounds, your patterns of relating, the parts of yourself you've denied, where you abandon yourself in relationship. The shadow. You can get stuck here for years, blaming them, blaming yourself, trying to fix it, trying to get back to stage one, never realizing that you're supposed to go through this, not around it. How long it lasts. This can last months or even years if you don't do the inner work. Many people cycle between stage 3 and stage 4, separation, repeatedly until they finally commit to healing. My story, when the shadow stage hit, I became someone I didn't recognize. I was checking her social media constantly. I was analyzing every text for hidden meaning. I was anxiously waiting for her to reach out, then overreacting when she did. I saw my neediness, my desperation, my inability to self-regulate, and it was humiliating because I'd always thought of myself as independent, secure, balanced, but this relationship revealed I had a massive anxious attachment wound I'd been avoiding my entire life. She mirrored back everything I'd denied, my fear of abandonment, my need for external validation, my inability to self-soothe, my tendency to lose myself in relationship. The shadow stage wasn't punishment. It was revelation. It was showing me exactly what needed healing. Stage 4, separation, the dark night and surrender. What happens? The relationship ends, or it goes into separation. Physical distance, no contact, time apart, and it feels like death. Not metaphorical death, actual death. You feel like a part of you is dying. You can't eat, you can't sleep, you can't function normally. You cycle through bargaining, desperate attempts to fix it, anger, depression, numbness. The psychology. Jung would say this is the nigredo, the blackening, the death, the dissolution. It's the dark night of the soul. The ego is dying. The identity you built around this relationship, around being twin flames, around the fantasy of who you'd become together, is dissolving. And it has to, because the ego you brought into this relationship isn't capable of real love. It's too wounded, too defended, too attached to fantasy. The old self has to die so a new self can be born. What it feels like. Devastating. Empty. Like nothing will ever be okay again. Physical pain in your chest. Grief that comes in waves. Loneliness that feels unbearable. Questioning everything. The gift separation forces you to turn inward. When you can't use the other person to feel whole, you have to discover wholeness within yourself. This is where individuation begins. This is where you finally start doing the real work. The shadow. You can get stuck in victimhood. They left me. They rejected me. They're my twin flame, but they don't see it. You can chase, beg, manipulate, try to force reunion instead of accepting the separation as necessary. You can spiritually bypass. We're just in the separation phase. They'll come back when they're ready. The universe is testing us. How long it lasts? As long as it needs to. Some people move through this stage in months. Others take years. It depends on how willing you are to do the inner work. My story, when we separated, I was destroyed. I tried everything to get her back. I sent letters. I did manifestation rituals. I convinced myself we'd reunite when the timing was right. I wasted a year chasing reunion instead of accepting the separation. Finally, I hit bottom. I realized she's not coming back. And even if she did, I'd just repeat the same patterns because I haven't healed. That's when the real work began. That's when I stopped looking outward and started looking inward. That's when separation became initiation. Stage 5, integration, the return, and wholeness. What happens? You stop waiting for them. You stop organizing your life around whether they'll come back. You turn fully toward yourself. You do the work, therapy, or inner child healing, meditation and somatic practices, shadow work and self-compassion, developing the qualities you projected onto them, building a life that feels whole without them, and slowly you transform. The psychology Jung called this individuation, the process of becoming your true self. You integrate your shadow, the parts you denied, your anima animus, the inner opposite, your wounded child, the attachment trauma, your wholeness, the self. You become what you were seeking in them. If they embodied creativity, you develop your creativity, emotional depth, you develop emotional literacy, boundaries, you develop healthy boundaries, intuition, you develop your intuitive capacity, confidence, you develop self-assuredness, you stop projecting, you start embodying what it feels like: peace, groundedness, wholeness. I'm okay whether they return or not. Gratitude for the journey, no longer triggered by thoughts of them. Able to love yourself. The gift: you've completed the hero's journey. You descended into the underworld, separation, faced the dragon, shadow, claimed the treasure, wholeness, and returned transformed. Now you're free. Free to have a healthy relationship with them if they've done their work too. Free to release them and find someone who matches your actual wholeness. Free to live from integration instead of projection. The shadow. You can mistake feeling better for completion. True integration takes ongoing practice, not a one-time breakthrough. You can also spiritually bypass again. I'm healed now, so they should come back. That's still ego. True integration means I'm whole now, and whatever happens is okay. How long it lasts? Integration is a lifelong process. But the major shift from desperate need to peaceful wholeness often happens over 6 to 18 months of consistent inner work. My story integration happened slowly, then all at once. I spent months doing therapy, shadow work, inner child healing. I developed the qualities I'd projected: my creativity, my emotional depth, my vulnerability, my intuition. And one day I realized I'm no longer obsessing. I'm no longer checking if she's texted. I'm no longer organizing my life around reunion. I was whole, not because I got over her, but because I got back to myself. And from that wholeness, I could see the relationship clearly for the first time. I could see what was real and what was projection. I could see her as a human being, not a mirror or a fantasy. I could finally let her go. not with bitterness, but with gratitude. She'd shown me what I needed to heal, and now I'd healed it. The journey was complete. The nonlinear nature of the stages. Here's something important. These stages aren't always linear. You don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a straight line and you're done. Most people cycle through stages 3 and 4, shadow and separation, multiple times before they commit to stage 5, integration. You separate, do some healing, reconnect, trigger the shadow again, separate again, do more healing. This isn't failure. This is the spiral. Each time you return to shadow or separation, you're meeting it from a more conscious place. You're healing a deeper layer. The key is, are you learning and integrating each time? Or are you repeating the exact same pattern without growth? If you're growing, even slowly, you're on track. If you're repeating the same behaviors, the same reactions, the same drama, then you're stuck and you need to commit more deeply to the inner work. How to know which stage you're in right now? Ask yourself these questions. Are you still idealizing them? You're in stage 1 or 2, projection inflation. Are you triggered constantly, obsessing, can't regulate? You're in stage 3, shadow. Are you in separation and it feels unbearable? You're in stage 4, separation. Do you feel peaceful, whether they return or not? You're in stage 5, integration. Are you cycling between wanting them and being triggered by them? You're between stages 3 and 4 and need to commit to the inner work to move to stage 5. Most people watching this video are in stage 3 or 4. If you weren't, you probably wouldn't be searching for answers about twin flames. And that's okay. These are the transformational stages. This is where the real work happens. The practice, the river of stages. The meditation. The river of stages helps you honor where you've been and understand where you're going. Here's what happens in the practice. Step 1, heart coherence breathing. You ground yourself in the present moment. Step 2, walking along the river. You visualize yourself walking along a symbolic river. Each bend in the river represents a stage. Step 3, stage 1, projection. At the first bend, you encounter the memory of meeting them, the recognition, the magic. You collect a symbol, a mirror, a flower, a spark of light that represents what you saw in them. Step 4, stage 2, inflation. At the second bend, you encounter the euphoria, the feeling of being chosen, special, destined. You collect a symbol, a crown, a star, wings, that represents the spiritual ego. Step 5, stage 3, shadow. At the third bend, you encounter the pain, the triggering, the chaos, the wounds revealed. You collect a symbol, a stone, a thorn, a dark mirror that represents what needed to be seen. Step 6, stage 4, separation. At the fourth bend, you encounter the emptiness, the dark night, the death, the surrender. You collect a symbol, an empty vessel, seeds in winter, a cocoon that represents necessary dissolution. Step 7, stage 5, integration. At the fifth bend, you encounter wholeness, the light, the peace, the reclaimed self. You collect a symbol, a lotus, a complete circle, golden light, that represents your integration. Step 8, bringing it all home. You hold all 5 symbols in your hands. Then you place them into your heart, one by one. Each stage was necessary. Each taught you something. You honor the complete journey. This meditation is powerful because it helps you stop resisting your stage. You stop trying to skip back to stage 1. You accept where you are, and you trust the process. This meditation is part of the complete Meditative Journey library. All 12 practices for just $27 with code TWIN at ryankeys.com/twinflames. The daily ritual, stage acknowledgement. Here's a simple practice to honor where you are. Every night before bed, place your hand on your heart. Ask, Which stage am I in today? Say out loud, I am in stage name. This is exactly where I need to be. Ask, what does this stage need from me tomorrow? Commit to one action that honors the stage you're in. Examples, if you're in shadow, stage 3. Tomorrow I will journal about what's being triggered. Tomorrow I will reach out to my therapist. Tomorrow I will do the inner child meditation. If you're in separation, stage 4. Tomorrow I will allow myself to grieve. Tomorrow I will not check their social media. Tomorrow I will take care of my body. If you're in integration, stage 5. Tomorrow I will continue my creative practice. Tomorrow I will nurture friendships. Tomorrow I will build my life from wholeness. Honoring your stage stops the resistance, and resistance is what keeps you stuck. In the next episodes, we'll go deeper into specific aspects of the journey. Episode 5, Shadow Couples. When archetypes collapse into toxic patterns, savior and victim, tyrant and servant, manipulator and enabler, and how to know if you're in a trauma bond instead of a soul connection. Episode 6, Obsession in the Mirror of Wounds. Understanding the attachment trauma that's driving the obsession and meeting your inner child who's really running the show. Episode 7, The Gift of Separation. Why separation isn't punishment but initiation, and how to transform loneliness into solitude. But today's episode gives you the map. Now you know, this is a journey. It has stages. You're exactly where you need to be. You've learned the 5 stages. You've identified where you are on the map. You understand that the pain has purpose and the pattern makes sense. Now it's time to honor your journey by doing the practice. Step 1. Download your free meditation. If you haven't yet, go to ryankeys.com/twinflames and get Coming Home to Your Heart. This practice brings you back to center no matter which stage you're in. Step 2. Get the complete meditation library. The meditation for this episode, The River of Stages, is a 22-minute journey that helps you honor every stage you've walked through. You'll collect symbols from each bend in the river. You'll integrate the teachings. You'll stop resisting where you are. This meditation brings peace to the chaos. It's part of the complete Meditative Journey Library. All 12 practices for just $27, normally $97 with code TWIN. Get them now. ryankeys.com/twinflames, code TWIN. The stages are waiting to teach you. The river is ready to guide you. Step 3. Do the daily stage acknowledgement. Every night. I am in stage. This is where I need to be. What does this stage need from me? Stop resisting. Start honoring. Step 4. Listen to episode 5. Next week, we're exploring shadow couples, when the archetypal patterns collapse into their darkest forms, and how to know if you're in a trauma bond. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. Step 5. Join the community. Comment below. Which stage are you in right now? Which stage was hardest for you? What's one thing this episode helped you understand about your journey? Let's walk these stages together. The twin flame journey isn't random chaos. It's not senseless suffering. It's not proof that something's wrong with you. It's a 5-stage initiatory process that thousands of people have walked before you. Projection, inflation, shadow, separation, integration. Each stage is necessary. Each stage teaches you something. Each stage is preparing you for the next. You can't skip stages. You can't go back to stage 1. You can only move through them with consciousness, with practice, with courage. And when you do, you emerge transformed. Not reunited with your twin flame necessarily, but reunited with yourself. Not seeking completion externally, but embodying wholeness internally. Not living in projection, but living in integration. That's the journey. That's the map. That's the way home. Download your free meditation, ryankeys.com/twinflames. Get the complete library, ryankeys.com/twinflames. Code Twin. Walk the river, honor the stages, trust the process, and I'll see you in episode 5, where we go into the shadow, the darkest parts of the journey, and learn how to face them without being destroyed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting the process. You're exactly where you need to be. The journey is unfolding perfectly. Until next time, with love, Ryan.